Steve Cooper, Rank Success, and this is a continuation of some of the lockdown videos, a little series I've been doing to help support police officers who are going through a promotion selection process, who are aiming for promotion in the next few months to go for Sergeant Inspector essentially. And today's video is essentially about your incompetence. Now, it sounds quite provocative that I'm saying the word incompetent, but I'm talking about it in the context of where you start out for a promotion process. And many people start out, or many officers start out incompetent. And there's a kind of analogy there somewhere, a kind of correlation with the word competence, competencies, but I'm starting at the outset from the position of incompetence. Now, I'm also talking in the context of a learning theory. So Kolb's learning cycle talks about how people learn. And I like to apply that through the guides, digital guides that I produce, some of the blog material, and essentially through the masterclasses that I deliver for officers who are aiming for promotion. So Kolb talks about 4 positions of learning, or 4 states of learning, and a cycle through which people go through. And he talks about people starting off as being unconsciously incompetent. So this means that when you go for promotion, as many people do, there are some things you don't even know that you don't know about promotion. And you'll see some of that in some of the reflected in some of the feedback I get, where officers say, if I hadn't come on the masterclass, or if I hadn't read that particular blog or the guidance you put out, I would have gone into my promotion board completely unaware of that, naively. And that's completely understandable, because people do start out with a position of incompetence. So that's where I generally start off, is assuming and presuming. As a detective, I wouldn't do that, assuming and presuming, but I assume and presume for the purposes of someone going for promotion that they start out incompetent. So unconsciously incompetent means you don't even know what you don't know, and that's okay. Now, consciously incompetent is the next stage of Kolb's learning theory, that I know that I don't know things. And that makes sense, really. You know that you don't know things, which is why you want to prepare yourself for promotion. And then consciously competent is the next stage, that I grow and I know, and it starts to show. So you're starting to develop, you're starting to raise your own awareness, you're starting to learn little things, little points that you didn't know before. So the role, the essential functions and dimensions of the role of Sergeant Inspector, some of the challenges your force is looking to achieve, what your part in that is, what's expected of you as a sergeant, as an inspector, your leadership, your attitude to change, these kind of things. So you're starting to kind of raise your awareness of this, and you're becoming consciously competent of where you are in terms of where you need to be. And the last stage of Kolb's learning cycle is unconsciously competent. I simply go because of what I know. So when you walk into a promotion board, you are at the best you've ever been. You know most of what you need to know. You know about the role that you're going for. You know about the challenges facing policing at a wider level, those facing your force regionally or force-wide, the personal and professional challenges that you face as you get promoted and you go through your development journey. So you're moving through from being unconsciously incompetent, a complete load of unknowns, through to unconsciously competent, which means here I am, I'm ready to go, I'm the best I've ever been. Which of you have got questions for my answers? Now, I don't suggest you say that on a board, but I do suggest that that's the position you will have when you are unconsciously competent. So you sat in front of a board, the best you've been, you're well prepared, and you're ready to deliver your responses to any questions that are asked. One of the great ways of thinking about Kolb's learning cycle is driving, learning to drive. When you were young, very young, you probably knew there were such things called cars that go along the road. You didn't know much more about that other than that someone sat in them. You then go through the position of being consciously incompetent. You know that the pedals on the floor and the gear stick do something, so you're starting to kind of recognise that you don't know things. And then you go through consciously competent. You start having some driving lessons, you're kangarooing down the road, you're learning, you're growing, you're knowing, and it's starting to show. And most of you that can drive now probably drive from A to B without even giving it a thought. You're able to do that, listen to the radio and do other things. That's because you're unconsciously competent. You don't even need to think about it. So it's much better to be nearer to that phase of Kolb's learning cycle when you go for a promotion board or sit a promotion selection process, because that's the strongest that you're probably likely to be. Okay, if you like this video, if it's prompting some thoughts and provoking some thinking around the topic, the nature of promotion, you can download a digital sergeant's or inspector's guide from my site, Rank Success. You can subscribe to this channel, this YouTube channel, for some more little videos where I'm sharing some food for thought and reflections. Or you can follow me on social media, which is Facebook Rank Success, or Twitter at rank_success. I'll be doing another video shortly, and I look forward to speaking to you. Thank you.